Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, as you prepare your taxes, file this note. There's free help. We'll fill in the blanks. Then, do you grin and bear it? We'll share ways to smile without pain. Are you game for a unique exhibit? Project Mahjong is a winner. Plus, we'll focus on how some special photos tell the tales of the Civil War. And tips to ensure that your home and belongings are protected.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. While tax help is always welcome, the price we have to pay for it can be a tax on our budgets. But now, thanks to AARP, seniors can take advantage of free tax help. AARP Tax Aid volunteer Sheila Holmes is here to freely talk about this free tax help, and we welcome her to the show. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me how this free tax program actually works.
Well, first you can find a AARP Tax Aid Center by calling AARP or by going on their website, and we'll have that information for you in just a bit. Then you need to call and make an appointment. When you call, you will be getting in touch with a local library, senior center, or a municipal office.
These are the tax centers where the volunteers will go to.
Those are the centers we'll go to. But these wonderful people, the program wouldn't be possible without them, and we're very grateful.
Okay. Well,
when you come in, you need to bring your Social Security card, a picture ID, last year's tax return, and all of this year's tax documents.
You want to be organized, right?
Absolutely. And please wait till you get all of your documents.
And they come later and later,
And
it
they
seems,
do.
every year. So is there any kind of tricks for how to make sure you've got everything?
You can look at last year's return, and if nothing's changed, you should have all the same documents.
Okay, so you go in and then we sit down with a volunteer like you?
Yes, actually you will sit down with a intake person who will take down all of your information on an IRS intake sheet. Information like your dependents, if you itemize, etc. Then a volunteer will take that information and enter it into the computer. While you're sitting and waiting, you may be asked for clarifications or questions. Next, a quality review person will look at your return and all of your documents to make sure that everything is accurate. With this process, 3 sets of eyes have looked at your return, making sure there are no errors. Then we have you sign a form and you're on your way.
Doesn't sound like it's a hard thing at all. So the volunteers pretty much take care of everything. They mail your return in and all?
No, actually we electronically file your return. So when you leave, you're basically done. And when you electronically file your return, you can have your return within 7 to 15 days.
That's very, very, very fast.
Yes, it is. And most people choose to have them directly deposited into their bank account, but some still prefer a check.
Well, yeah, I can see that. You want to feel that check in your hands if you're getting something from the government, after all. So
we also when we file your federal return, we also file your state return.
Oh, good.
With some tax aid sites even taking care of your local returns.
Those can be confusing.
Yes, they can.
Are the volunteers who prepare these taxes, are they CPAs or kind of training?
No, we have to go through training and then take and pass an IRS test. And IRS will randomly come to the sites and make sure all standards are being set.
They're quality control, huh?
That's what it is. And the tax aid program is in fact run in conjunction with the IRS.
Okay, so they need to watch over those things. So can any senior take advantage of the program?
Actually, tax aid's target audience is low to moderate income people, 60 and over, and low to moderate income families. However, we only do personal returns. We do not do businesses, rentals, farms, complicated Schedule Ds.
And then they need to get their own tax preparer for that, huh?
Exactly.
So how many people have you helped?
Well, just to show you how many people we've helped, last year in Ohio alone, 1,600 volunteers at 300 sites helped 72,000 people.
That is amazing.
Yes,
A
it
lot
is.
of lot of volunteer,
Yes.
a lot of help for people around Ohio. So we
Yes.
really appreciate that.
Well,
I'm sure
thank
those
you.
people who come in really appreciate it as well.
They do.
So, okay. If you need aid with your taxes, now you know AARP Tax Aid can help for free. To find the location near you, no need to tax your brain. Just use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Sheila Holmes for sharing such welcome news. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
To find tax aid help near you, call AARP in Ohio toll-free at 1-888-227-7669 or log on to www.aarp.org/taxaid. Next, polishing those pearly whites. But first, one look at Anna Turner Cook's portrait, and this company said, "Baby, you're a star." And they weren't kidding. Millions have just eaten her up. Now, can you name the product her mug has marketed? We'll spoon out the answer when we return.
Welcome to Breckenridge Village, a continuing care retirement community conveniently located in historic Willoughby, Ohio. Whether it's a luxury apartment, a spacious ranch home, or newly built brownstones, it's all here with the added security of knowing more care is available when you need it. Breckenridge Village offers an exciting and upbeat lifestyle, and the food is fabulous, and our staff makes you their #1 priority. Learn more about Breckenridge Village and come see our new Veal Wellness and Aquatic Center.
Anna Turner Cook had the cutest little baby face, and that's why her features have been featured on Gerber's baby food for more than 50 years.
The Super Bowl may be over and football forgotten until fall, but even in the off-season, dentist Steve Marsh knows how to score a super smile. Steve is here with stories of patients who have unbeatable smiles. Let's say we want to sign on to your team. What's the strategy to get started?
Well, once you've made an appointment with our wonderful staff, who I should say is very welcoming, we bring the patients in, and if they want to have a super smile, we sit down around a table just as you and I are doing right here, and I like to get to know the patient. They like to get to know me. We take lots of photographs of the patients, and sometimes people even bring in pictures of when they were younger because they want to sort of recapture that, maybe for a class reunion or a family gathering. That's somebody who's very prominent here at Channel 3 who sat down with me. Fred Griffith, after knowing him many years, finally said it's time for me to have a super smile. So he came in, and we're sitting around the table in my office. We're discussing what options are available. And he may give me ideas, I may have ideas for him, and that's how we do it with every
It's a collaborative
patient.
effort. It has to be.
Yeah, we talked about teamwork. That's exactly what it is.
That's it. Now, is there a way to see how this plan is going to work before actually everything's in place?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things we really pride ourselves on. We want patients to love the result, and so we do make a plan, a strategy, if you will, and then we have ways to look at them with the patients so that they have a sense of what it's going to look like before we do it. Again, we want everybody to be thrilled with the result. And so we sit down and we do a wax prototype. This is a patient, and actually it was Fred's prototype. There's his teeth on the left. Over a number of years, teeth wear down. We've lived a long life. And then we did it in wax. We took his model, and you can see on the right a wax prototype of exactly what we thought we could accomplish in his mouth. And we do this with almost every patient.
Okay.
And this is actually Fred's teeth. And again, Fred has been kind enough to let us use his pictures because he knows that there are a lot of people in a similar situation, especially as we mature.
And his outcome certainly is great.
And again, the picture on the left is the before picture. When we say after, that's actually a model of the prototype in his mouth. At that point, it's still not done. We said to him, this is what we think we can do. We decided when we went to the permanent, we would lengthen the front teeth a little more, and we would play a little more with color. But again, that was just a prototype.
That's fantastic. You can see what it's actually going to look like.
Yeah, in this world with digital and that sort of thing, we want everybody to get a sense of what they're going to have.
Okay, and you've got some pictures of winning smiles that you've coached.
Right, and we have lots of pictures.
Okay.
And these are Golden Opportunity viewers, so they've allowed us to come on with this.
That's fantastic.
She had, if you can see, a fairly gummy smile. One of my favorite patients, very outgoing, was unhappy as her teeth had shifted as she had gotten older. So in this case, we did some gum contouring with a diode laser. It's very painless, easy to do, and did 10 porcelain veneers to give her that absolutely gorgeous smile. And another viewer works in a hospital, very kind, lectures a lot, as a matter of fact. She had had some old crowns done in the old days with porcelain on the outside, metal on the inside. They didn't transmit light, so we used, again, after sitting down together, we used some porcelain veneers, all porcelain crowns, no metal, and then did some bonding on the lower to give her that absolutely stunning smile. We talked about Fred. There he is with the before. There's Fred's after. And again, he had seen the prototype, as I had mentioned. We lengthened those front two teeth a little more from the prototype to give him a bright, beautiful, even smile. And he also mentions he doesn't catch as much food because now the teeth are evened out.
That's great.
And this is a woman who appeared, actually, Lori, this past year on the show. And
She must have been very proud of her teeth to come on in the air.
Yes, she was, and she had worn her teeth down, had some bonded fillings, and after a number of years, bonded fillings will wear out a little bit. They stain, they don't look the same length, and they wear. And again, this is somebody where we did some gum contouring, we did some porcelain veneers to give her that beautiful smile.
All right, I think that's all the time we have to look at your pictures, but it's always great to see
appreciate
them.
it. But it's all, again, teamwork between the patient, the staff, myself, to get the desired result, just as you would if a Super Bowl was coming by. If the Browns ever got there, we would want to have that wonderful result, excuse me, but that would be wonderful.
All right, well, good coaching.
Thank you.
Just like football, creating a super smile is all in the execution of the planned plays. And Steve's approach is a winner. To find out more, hike to your phone and give him a call. That number's coming up next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, the tiles that bind. Looking for this side of paradise? Look no further than Orchid Mania at the Cleveland Botanical Garden, going on now through March 25th. Experience an amazing diversity of colors, patterns, shapes, and sizes of a variety of orchids. To dig for more information, call 216-721-1600 or plant yourself at your computer and visit www.cbgarden.org.
There's a popular pastime that has propelled its particular kind of playing into the present. There's an exhibit at the Maltz Museum of Jewish History about this pastime. Judy Feniger is the museum's executive director, and she's here to read us the rules for Project Mahjong. All right, wow, game?
Hi, Lori. It's a lot of fun. You have to
Is it
learn.
really?
I'm learning.
Tell me what the game's about. If a lot of people may not be familiar.
Sure. Well, the game of Mahjong is a board game, and it uses tiles. There are 4 players, must be 4 players, and then you use these tiles to make hands, sort of like cards. So runs of numbers or all one color, and it's a little more complicated though because there are 152 tiles.
Okay. I understand it's a noisy game sometimes.
It's the wonder of it is the clap bam, and you hear the tiles swirling around and people exclaiming. It's a lot of fun.
Tell us about the history of the game. I understand that's interesting.
It is. It's an Asian game that goes back, some say, to Confucius. Can't confirm that. It was brought to the United States in the 1920s by a Standard Oil executive who brought it to the United States, and it became a wonderful craze.
What some of the tiles look like.
Some of the tiles.
And is this a scorecard?
Scorecard, just wonderful old artifacts that are in the exhibition, and that's how you calculate your score and play the game. And wonderful old television programs, which were the craze of Mahjong was so popular, and it just swept the nation, and up from the Catskills, the South and the West, and it's a real East meets West.
It looks like it's a women's game here.
It is mostly in the United States. It's mostly a women's game. Interestingly, it's still the biggest game in Asia and in China and Japan. It's a man's game.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
and
well,
a
that's
betting
interesting
game.
how it kind of evolved differently.
But today it's gender neutral. Men and women play.
Okay, so there's this history behind it. It came from the Orient. How does that all fit into now a museum exhibit?
Well, the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York City, in the hip New York City area, noticed that a lot of young women, the craze was coming back, and a lot of women were playing Mahjong, and not just older women, as was more traditional, but younger women, and they would
They
go out
passed
to
it on,
clubs.
huh?
And so if you go into clubs or hotels or homes or all over town, and so they created this exhibition. We're lucky enough to be the only Midwest venue to have it.
So it's traveling around the country?
It is. It's in Oregon before it came to us, and from us it will go out to the Skirball Museum in Los Angeles.
All right, so we got to watch for that.
Yeah.
And listen for the sound of the
Clack,
tiles,
the
right?
clacks.
All right. I understand they even have tables where you can play, you learn how to play?
They do. There's one in the exhibition itself, and when we went to look at the show in New York, we took our first lesson, and we decided we need more tables. So we've got 4 tables, so you can come in and book tables. We're also doing a tournament on February 13th. There's been lots of Maj tournaments starting to happen around Cleveland, East Side and West Side, and so we're going to do one.
Are there some pros at the game?
Well,
that
there
might be
are some good players. They know their stuff.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to check out that exhibit and learn how to play Mahjong. Sounds like it might be a fun game.
Come see us.
Whether you want to learn about Mahjong's past or how to play it in the present, don't miss this exhibit at the Maltz Museum. And my thanks to Judy Feniger for laying her these tiles on the table.
Find out more by calling the Maltz Museum of Jewish Heritage at 216-593-0575 or visit their website, www.maltzmuseum.org. Next, letting pictures tell the story. It's time to get up and go. An exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, I'm Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to do a chest press. This exercise is going to be done laying on the floor. Okay, so we're going to lay back here. You want your feet at an angle, feet flat on the ground. We're going to use some dumbbells today. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. Remember, 16-ounce can equals 1 pound of weight if you don't have dumbbells at home. You want your arms out to your side at a 90-degree angle. Your arms should become an extension of your shoulders, basically. And what we're going to do is press them straight up in the air, touch them together. Great, good job, and back down nice and slow. Remember, always use slow and controlled movements throughout the process. Straight up and straight down. This is going to work our chest muscles. How you feeling over there?
Great. Where's the nurse?
All right, everybody. Now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
Pictures can provide a peek into the past and make history present for us today. Author Christine D. has done just that with her book, Feel the Bonds That Draw, using over 200 images from the Western Reserve Historical Society. She reflects on the impact of the Civil War on soldiers, the civilians, and the country. Christine is also an associate professor of history at Fitchburg State University in Massachusetts. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here.
All right, the Civil War was the first time that was actually historically documented because it could be captured by photography. So what did the photographers focus on?
Well, the photographers focused on soldiers, the places that the soldiers were. They would go into camps with soldiers, take photographs for their soldiers to send home to their families. They would also document the landscape, battle scenes, like the one we're looking at. What we're looking at now is our soldiers leaving Chillicothe, Ohio, to go off to fight in 1862. But it wasn't, I should point out, it wasn't the first time photographers had actually documented war. They had taken pictures of the Mexican War, and the Crimean War in 1855 was heavily photographed for exhibits. But what made this different was the fact that there was a large marketplace in America where people were used to collecting photographs, small carte de visites that they would share and pass along to each other, and they were used to looking at images and buying photographs and looking at those in stereoscopic sort of viewmasters.
Yeah, those things with the double pictures.
Exactly, that gives them a 3D effect.
So the photographs were used to send home to family, it sounded like, for the news, or what all was involved?
Well, they would be shared, sent home to families, but moreover, they would also be turned into engravings, and that was really important because in the Civil War, Americans didn't have the technology that we do now to be able to take photographs and turn them into newsprint to distribute. So what they did instead is they would take photographs and they would hire engravers who would then engrave that image onto a plate, and they would use those plates to then put those images in newsprint newspapers like Harper's Weekly.
Tell me about this picture. What would a woman be sitting there in the encampment?
Well, one thing that photographs did do is they have documented for us the presence of women and children, African Americans, in soldiers' camps. And that dictates to us really a strong sense that the Civil War was a family affair. It was something that transcended what we think of as a separation of the home front and the battlefield.
It was right in people's backyards.
It was right in their backyards, and people would travel back and forth between their homes to visit soldiers at the field, especially officers. Officers were the ones who most often had their wives with them as opposed to privates.
And here's the Soldiers' Aid Society. Tell me about that. How did that help?
The Soldiers' Aid Society was one of the civilian organizations that flourished in the North that would get Northerners to engage in charitable endeavors and to support their troops, in essence. It spread throughout the North, and they had Soldiers' Aid Society offices in many of the cities where soldiers were living in at the time. Places like Nashville out in the field, but also places like Cincinnati.
Okay. So I see these express a lot about how the soldiers lived. How about the civilians? Were there impacts on the civilians?
Well,
as to how they viewed them? Or
one of the things that the photographs tell us is the hardship of war, not just on the soldiers that were in the field, but on things that we don't typically think about, like the landscape. From these images, we can see farms that were destroyed during battles. We can see soldiers making an effort to cut their way through otherwise wilderness, to do things like string telegraph lines, the difficulty of moving food from the home to the front, laying rails, creating bridges, cutting roads, defending their supply lines. All of those things took a toll on the land, and it required human beings working in that capacity, be it free blacks, women, men who weren't enlisted. So the war for people could provide also an opportunity for work and employment that they didn't have otherwise.
Oh, wow. So this book sounds like it's going to be really great to give us that picture. The Civil War was a cataclysmic event in our nation's history, and one that continues to challenge and fascinate us. My thanks to Christine D. for helping to bring it into focus with her book, Feel the Bonds That Draw. We'll be right back.
Feel the Bonds That Draw is available at the Western Reserve Historical Society's History Center Museum store or online at www.wrhs.org. To learn more, call 216-721-5722. Next, how to ensure your home is fully protected.
We're Gateway Title, keeping life simple. We can make it simple. We've got everything you need. See how easy selling your home can be. We're Gateway Title. We're keeping life simple.
If you want to sleep better at night, set a regular bedtime and keep it. Don't break the routine, even on weekends. This sleep tip brought to you by Mattress Warehouse.
Did you miss a phone number or website? Then here's your second chance, because we're going to list all of that information again. And then I'll be back to tell you how to protect your home sweet home. Your home is probably your largest investment, and you surely know that to protect it, you must keep it insured. But most people are underinsured, and that means you could still be stuck with losses in the thousands of dollars if something unexpected happens. Consider this: about 6 in 100 homeowners file a claim under their insurance. The biggest claims are from fire and lightning, and the biggest mistake people make is that they don't have enough insurance to rebuild their home if it is destroyed. And that's true even now when home prices are way down. Don't be confused. Even if the sale price of your home has gone down, the cost to rebuild your home could be a lot more. Your insurance agent should be able to help figure out the home's replacement cost so you can buy the right amount of insurance. Or you can go to AccuCoverage.com to run some figures for yourself. Also be aware that standard policies don't cover damage from floods or from earthquakes, so you may need to have separate coverage for those things. In Northeast Ohio, we see flooding from heavy rains and melting snow and ice, not just from lakes and river overflows. And here's one more very important tip. Go through your home now and make a very detailed list of everything. Even better, take your video camera and make a recording of everything. Otherwise, you are likely to forget things that may have been damaged or stolen. And a video can also show the condition your items are in. Otherwise, you'll probably never collect for many of your items. It is a very traumatic experience to suffer a fire, theft, flooding, or other damage to your home and personal belongings. We all know we have to have homeowners insurance, but make sure you have the right insurance, that you are not underinsured, and that you'll be able to document your lost belongings.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner & Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.budishandsolomon.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, we'll unpack helpful advice when moving from your home sweet home. Then the voice of Cleveland Cavaliers, Joe Tate, tells us why his career has been a real ball. And we'll add up the ways estate planning can save you and your whole family time and money. Until next week, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.